All right, what is going on, YouTube? We are back. We got a spicy market update for you. I'm Rob, and
this is Nick.
And here we are. We got the red sign going in the background because we've had a lot going on in the past week. So, where to start, Nick? Do you want to start with the charts or the news?
Let's start with the news.
All right, so we'll just kind of recap you from last week. If you've been following or haven't been following, we want to simplify this and summarize it for you. So major exchange, FTX. Last week, there's some rumors floating around that they were insolvent. Insolvent basically meaning that they didn't have enough funds to cover operations, trades, all that stuff. That rumor is floating around on Twitter. And then the Binance CEO basically said, due to recent revealings, findings, speculations, I don't know the exact wording, but he said they're going to sell off their FTT token, which is the exchange token of FTX. And he also noted that he's not in support of certain individuals who are lobbying behind other people's backs within the industry. It's basically Binance calling out Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, saying he's lobbying behind his back, and that he's calling his bluff on the insolvency. So that's where it all started. Sam Bankman-Fried comes out, says, we're fine. We got assets to cover everything. We're not insolvent. Alameda Research, they're tweeting. They have this woman, Caroline. She's saying, I'll buy the FTT tokens back at $22. She's saying that to the Binance CEO. Meanwhile, this is all lies. Then from there, based off those rumors, people start withdrawing their funds from FTX because if they're insolvent, they don't want to be caught up in an exchange where their funds are locked. So this caused a massive bank run. FTX goes silent. It turns out they're massively insolvent, have a humongous hole on their balance sheet. This causes a humongous sell-off. Basically, FTX has been covered in lies, manipulation, baiting retail, and using the funds of investors. So say like me, Nick, you, if you're using FTX to buy Bitcoin, whatever you want to buy, you keep that on the exchange. They're going to take that. Say you buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. They were taking your $1,000 and sending it to Alameda Research, which is just their trading firm. And they were leveraging up and using your money to make risky trades. And they got wrecked trading and they lost all that money, close to $10 billion. So a massive bank run, everyone's withdrawing, they're insolvent, and Binance was going to bail them out, but basically it was just a letter of intent, non-binding. And they said, we're going to do our due diligence. So there's kind of like a brief pause. Everyone thought there was going to be recovery. Binance immediately backs out because FTX was just such a mess and there's such a massive hole. Market just keeps nuking. Coins like Solana were just getting absolutely dumped. I'm pretty sure FTX and Alameda Research was just liquidating everything. And that triggered the next leg down on the market. Pretty much a black swan event, which I had been talking about over the past couple of months if you've been following. So we got this next leg down, and now we're sitting. I think we were on 15,000 Bitcoin. So a lot of stuff happened. In my opinion, no one's bailing out FTX. $10 billion. No one's going to do that. Tron is talking about letting users swap 1-to-1 from FTX to Tron if you have some worthless Tron tokens. So that's kind of in the mix. But other than that, if you had serious funds on FTX, you're basically not getting that money back. And if you were on Twitter at all, so much doom and gloom, people lost money, big time traders, people with millions of dollars, not just small guys, but big guys too. That was like a pretty big international exchange for trading. And
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady was on there, and the whole like the thing that baffles everyone is like okay, they have the exchange and they have the trading firm, so they can basically see everyone's trades, they can see everyone's stop losses, orders, all that stuff, and they've been like counter trading and front running and all this stuff. So how do you just lose, $8-10 billion when you have all this data? So that's just baffling everyone. Um, Luckily, me and Nick had no funds on that exchange. We kind of saw this, from a distance. Like I don't know about you, but I never trusted FTX. Um, Always had a bad taste. They were always pumping influencers and just spending money on
Well,
on
you couldn't actually open an account there if you are in the U.S.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass it off to Nick here, but just to wrap up my thoughts, huge unwind, huge, Ponzi scenario where they're just taking your funds and doing high risk stuff. So highly illegal. They're all probably going to jail, at least Sam Bankman Fried. The U.S. Department of Justice and Tether has already seized. I think they freeze their wallets and has seized some of their funds. And I think the Bahamas is starting to liquidate FTX because they're based out of the Bahamas. So just a massive mess. And the contagion of this, we don't know what the extent is, but I'm sure it's going to extend out. So that's basically it. I'm going to let Nick take over, share his thoughts, and then we're going to talk about our predictions because we also did get the CPI print today, and there's more going on in the global economic environment besides crypto, which if you're not paying attention to crypto, most people have no idea that this happened. Um, so, just take all this with a grain of salt into your overall outlook on crypto. But Nick, what are your thoughts? And then we'll get into some predictions. Any thoughts on the FTX debacle?
Yeah, it reminds me of the whole Luna thing that happened a few months back. Just people making a lot of very irresponsible decisions with the way they're handling their business. So this just it turned into another black swan event, just like Luna. Like if you check out our previous few market updates, we were saying that essentially we thought that this line was going to hold and that everything was looking very bullish based on everything we'd seen in the past. And the only way that we said in our previous videos that we could break down and go bearish from here based on everything that's already happened is that we had another black swan event. And look what happened. We had another black swan event. Um, no one ever thought FTX was going to go down because Sam Bankman Fried, he talked a big game. He multi-billionaire. We just didn't know that he was using customer funds to give to Alameda Research to make risky trades, and then they blew it up. So where do we stand now? Um, I mean, I can't believe we made it all the way down to 15,000 last night. That just blows my mind. I wouldn't be selling here. I think anyone selling here, they weren't selling because they wanted to. They were selling, they were selling because they were forced. Because we've already come down so far in this bear market. Like, what person in the right mind would be selling after this large of a drop?
No one into crypto is really going to be selling right now. It's people who are forced.
Yeah, so like anything that was sold here was because of a forced sale. So what that opens up the door to is great opportunity, I believe. Um, I think these prices are not going to stick around for long unless another shoe drops. I'm praying to God that another shoe doesn't drop, but I think last night that $15,600 level, it was the bottom, unless something else major in the news comes out. That's why this is a numbers game. This is a probabilities game. The probability of us moving higher after we saw all this play out, it was a higher probability that we would shoot up from here based on my experience. However, you can't predict certain things. There's always a chance that it can go against what you say. So where do I see things going from here? I see a V bottom out of here unless something else drops that's really bad news. Um, I think a lot of people are trying to short this quick wick up that we've had in the last day, and I think they're going to get burned. They could be lucky and another bad news comes out, but I think we're going to pop right out of here and go right back up to at least this breakdown level, which is like 19, 20,000. I think we'll get back up there, consolidate a little bit before we shoot even higher. And that's kind of where I see things going from here. Rob, do you see anything in the charts that you want to talk about?
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to mention. So I was trading last week before this happened. So I basically saw everything unfold. And I remember last week, just out of nowhere, like these coins were pumping, like coins that should not be pumping. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the heck is going on here? And now looking back in hindsight, I know, not for certain, but it's a pretty good hunch that they knew, FTX knew that the beans were going to get spilled, and they were pumping these coins to for exit liquidity. So they were pumping, I can't remember the names of the coins, but coins that should not have been pumping last week. And they were propping everything up for one last exit liquidity. So now looking back in hindsight, I definitely recognize that for what it was. Secondly, a couple of things I want to note on. I don't know the numbers or where everyone's at, but I have heard this floating around that a lot of Bitcoin miners and mining operations are now underwater. They're behind electricity, inflation, and then the cost of Bitcoin. So that may force miners to sell more. So that's one thing to look at. The second thing is, I think we would have pumped today if this whole thing didn't happen because we had a good CPI. But other than that, we've had massive layoffs in the last week. The Fed news last week was not good. They basically said, like, they don't really know what they're doing and they're just going to keep cutting rates until they get to a certain point. So people are losing their jobs. Things are unaffordable. Let's pause for a second. All right, we're back. Had a brief pause, had a train going right by us. But we have a lot of things unfolding here. Massive, massive layoffs, cost of living, credit card debt, mortgage rates. So living is becoming unaffordable. People can't pay their bills. People are getting laid off, and we're they're just going to keep raising interest rates until something breaks. So, could we go further? Yeah, we definitely could if more things break. I mean, if the economy and the consumers and retail just suffers more, who's going to be the ones buying? And then there's just going to be more forced people to sell. Like, what happens if Michael Saylor's next? What happens if he gets margin called? Then we're in trouble. Or what if Binance goes under? So you got to look at both sides of the coin. You can definitely speculate it's going to go lower. How much lower? I mean, we're at 17,000 now. If it gets to 10,000 and you bought now and a 10x is in a couple of years, it's really not that big of a difference. But you definitely got to look at it and then assess your personal risk and financial situation. But crypto does have insane returns when things are good. So that's what you got to consider. That's what we're here for, because you can make money quick and you can just get returns like you can't get anywhere else. It's just impossible to get these returns. So a lot of different ways to look at it. The last thing is regulation. Like, what happens if we now get regulated heavily because of what just happened? So, if this becomes illegal or it becomes regulated, or, who knows? There's so many ways to spin it, but you got to put together a personal plan for yourself. Look at both sides, whether you think it's going to go lower or higher, we're going to settle. You just have to have your personal thoughts and thesis. But those are our thoughts. I'm going to close out there unless you got any final words or comments to say, Nick.
Yeah, I just want to say we are very close to releasing our course. Oh yeah, our course is done. If you guys want to check out our free beginner's guide to crypto, we're going to post a link in the description below. So that's going to just show you guys a little bit of the mindset of what it took myself as a crypto millionaire to get to where I was, or to get to.
Let me. So free beginner's guide. That's if you want to get started in crypto. You want to know where to start. We made that for you. It's free. Download it, and it'll give you some idea of where to get started in crypto. Then from there, we have our ultimate guide to crypto investing. That's if you're then ready to get started investing in crypto. We lay everything out for you. It's a step-by-step blueprint, video course, everything laid out and detailed, mainly based off of Nick's experiences going from basically, in a bad spot, debt, divorced, in a dead-end job, to then becoming a millionaire through his personal game plan and strategies, investing in crypto, which he's still following now, and he still plans on following through with this to make in the next bull run. So that's our course. So we have our free beginner's guide and then our course. So check those out in the comments below.
Yeah, I just laughed before because I said where I was. Like, yes, I was a multimillionaire, but yes, obviously the my portfolio has definitely taken a hit because of this bear market. That's why I laughed when I said that earlier. All I want to say is this is not financial advice. Do your own research before investing in any crypto projects, and we will catch you guys in the next one.